Right then guys, Tiny Tom Logan here with another video for you. Doing my very best DJ style introduction. Yeah, I have lost the plot. Anyways guys, this is, as I said to you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a long series of reviews for you. Videos for you, as well as like a build log and everything like that as well. I'm going to do as much as I possibly can to this rig and give you as many videos as possible. Some people already have been asking me to cut a window into the case, but obviously I'm reviewing the case, so I can't modify the case. We've got certain boundaries. Where I possibly can, I'm going to give you as much info as I can do. I'm also going to, basically what we're doing today is we're just going to be having a look at getting the motherboard set up ready for the water block. I've actually changed the water block. I'm now using an XSPC one just because it's all black and I think that it will suit the board better. I'll just bring you up so you can have a look. I think that will look a lot better on there. The only thing I need to do is find the back plate for this quickly because I haven't got a clue where it is. But as ever with a TTL video, I'll leave you on the camera and I'll find the box. I am still with you. Right, so I found the back plate. So what we're going to do is just quickly I'm going to put the water block on, and these water blocks are really simple, and I do mean really simple. You get a back plate like this, you put it onto the back of the board, it's got the threads on there, and then pretty much we have some little barbs. You just screw them in, and they've got little adjusters on, but the reason why I wanted to do this part of the video with you is because everyone asks me, how do I put my thermal paste on? So what I'm going to do is just bring you in. I'm going to get the board. Haha! Right. Now thermal paste. I use Noctua NTH1 a lot. Now I used to use this because obviously I've done a lot of Noctua heat sinks. But one thing that you must remember is this stuff is non-conductive. When people say to me about Arctic Silver is so old now, it's unbelievable, but the thing is, silver is conductive, and it does happen because I've done it. If you get some silver paste down in between the pins where it's conductive, you can actually bugger up your socket. Now the reason why I say I've done that is because years and years and years ago, back in 775 days, I actually lost the motherboard because I put a bit too much thermal paste on. It got down the side of the little gaps here. When I pinged this up, I took the CPU out, and basically, anyway, long story short, it dripped down in dead board. Well, I say dead board, I never bothered to even try posting it again. So that's why we always say to use non-conductive paste. So the Noctua stuff is great. Noctua were actually kind enough to send me like, well, it was a box of this stuff, because I get through so much thermal paste, it's unbelievable. I'm doing like, I don't know, 3-4 tubes a month at least. Since they sent me the box, I think I've only got 3 or 4 left. But anyway, I am starting to blather, as I always do, but apparently you lot love it. Now, when I do thermal paste with something like this, generally what I do is I put a bit in the middle and I do a little run. And that's what I would do on an Intel or an AMD chip. So, an Intel processor or an AMD graphics card. If I'm doing an AMD processor or an NVIDIA graphics card, then I would spread it out just to make sure that it's the different there, because obviously you've got a much bigger surface. But as far as Intel is concerned, what I would do, as I say, do a P, but what I normally do is do a little run like that. That's how I mount my paste. Obviously everyone's got their own way of doing it, but with an Intel, that is the way I do it. Now with the XSPC water block, what you need to do is get it roughly in the right place, because you don't want stuff to move around too much. Get it roughly in the right place. Now with the blocks, you've got to have the, what I would do is make sure that the ends are screwed right up, because you want those done. You've got the spring and everything on there, and then the plastic washer. Now the plastic washer, I've got to admit, because of this build, would have been nice if they were black. Normally, back in the day of when I was building rigs professionally for a living, I always used to keep stuff like that spare, but you can pick up nylon washers on eBay for, like, depending on where you are, like £1 for 50. And it was just something that when I first started, I had a list of stuff that I was always sort of like never had, and it was always one of those pain in the bum things that you were trying to order, and I basically ordered loads of everything. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to tighten this right up, and then afterwards, if you want to put extra pressure on the secondary washer, I'll try and do this so you can actually see, so my hands are not in the way. There you go. You can actually basically use that to put extra pressure on. Now, I've got to admit, you can do it, but I never bother. I've never had a problem with temperatures or the amount of pressure that these things put on, but you can do it. So, essentially, I'm going to try and turn this around. Aha, there we go. Water block on, fitted, nice. You can see it's all kind of black, it's all kind of matching, it's all lovely. But I did make a decision on the memory. Now, a lot of people were saying, oh, use Corsair, it's better, use this, it's better, blah 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 blah. To be perfectly honest with you, my lovelies, the difference between the Corsair and the Mushkin, there really isn't a lot in it, to be perfectly honest with you. All you need to do is look at the speed and the timings. Now, this is a 12GB kit, so it's 99924 at 1.5 volts, 1600 megahertz. I know this personal kit will do 99924, 2000 megahertz. The Mushkin kit I was going to use would have been 68624, 1.65 volts, it's 1600 megahertz, but it will do 89824 at 2000 megahertz. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, well, that sounds like the Mushkin's better. Technically it is, but the Mushkin are 2GB sticks. These are 4GB sticks, and you will normally find that the 4GB sticks will have slightly slacker timings because of either the more RAM chips or the bigger RAM chips that are on the boards. Now, if you find 4GB sticks with real tight timings, that will be why they are more expensive. But anyway, I've decided to use the Vengance because what I'm going to do, I had a bit of a sit down last night, just having a bit of a think, actually sort of like proper nerding up at the case. I'm just going to have the red fan in the front, 3 red 120mm phobias in the roof, on the radiator, and then everything else I'm going to go with black. Going to do black coolant, obviously black RAM, the graphics card top on the water block is black, so we're just going to do it that way, so it's more of a stealthy build, and then we're all good. I may even pull some lights out of my bum from somewhere for the inside, but we will have to wait and see. You need to remember that this is going to light up red as well. But basically, that's the first look at the board with its, there we go, with the RAM and the water block on. Now, like I said, I'm going to be doing this in stages. I'm just giving you a chance to have a look. Now what we're going to do, excuse me, is we're using Corsair RAM. So what I'm going to do is I've got a Corsair solid state drive here, which some of you may find it hard to believe, but has been kicking around for a little while. They sent me with some other stuff, so I'm going to use that. And then obviously I'm going to be using a Corsair power supply as well. So what I'm going to do quickly is I'm going to get the power supply in the rig. I'm not sure whether I'm going to use the AX1200 from my main rig or an AX850. A 1200 would be overkill, so I'm probably going to use the 850. But anyway, I'm going to get the power supply into the case quickly. And then what we'll do is we will get the power supply in, get the motherboard in, start having a look, and then we'll also be able to start having a look at fitting the water block, fitting the radiators, getting fans in, starting to get stuff ready. But anyway, before I sign off this video, I'm going to show you the case with the power supply in. We can have a bit of a chinwag about radiator placement and stuff like that. But this is going to be a fairly hefty video. We're already at 10 minutes and I'm pretty much adamant that we're going to be looking at between 20 and 30 minutes by the time I finish. But there's your first look at the motherboard with that part on. But there's plenty more to come. So yeah, stay tuned guys, I need to do a bit of work, but we'll be back in a sec. Right then guys, just a quick update. I wanted to let you know that I have decided to use the Corsair AX850 watt power supply. It kind of happened because I have got one here anyway, and it is a brand new one. But I did have a choice of quite a few, but I quite like these, and I'll explain why as we get throughout the videos. Now this isn't something that we're going to be reviewing because they've been about for a little while, but I just thought I'd give you a quick look. Like I said, this is a brand new unit, as you can see by all the labels and stuff, and this is pretty much how mental things can get because I've got so much kit laying around, it's unbelievable. Anyway, popping the box open quickly, you get, like I said, this isn't an official box open or anything, I just wanted to let you have a look. You get a massive bag with all your cables and everything in, because this is a fully modular unit. And I'll explain what I mean in a second, but I quite like the Corsair stuff because they're all the individual black cables. They do look, the dog's doodahs. Anyway, stick those in. Some of them are braided by the way, but they're like the main unit ones. I just want to show you the actual unit itself. I used this Corsair unit in Snowdrift a little while ago. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the Corsair stuff. Now, as you can see, there's no cables on it whatsoever. That's an empty unit. Now, the 850 watt, the AX850, is 160mm length. This is good for a lot of cases that are real compact. Obviously, we've not got a problem with the Corsair, with the Coolermaster. But it's a big old power supply in a standard ATX format. So if you're short on space, but you want a real good punchy power supply, this could be the daddy for you. This is probably the best normal size 160mm power supply on the market. This was the reason why I chose the AX for Snowdrift, was because I was very short on space because of the rad smack bang in front of it, yet I wanted a lot of power. So basically that's it. And if you have a look, labels on the right side if you have it turned downwards. If you have it turned upwards, it's the right way up as well. Now, everyone always asks me why I have my fan at the top. It's personal preference. There is no specific reason. I like to look at the fan grill. It makes no difference about bringing warm air in from inside the case or cool air from outside the case. It doesn't matter. It makes little, if not sweet FA difference. Another good thing with the AXs is the fact that when the system's not under load, the fan will stop completely. It will just sit there idle, and then as soon as you start an application that's intensive, like your graphics card starts to kick into use or your CPU starts to kick into use, you'll see the fan spin again. Absolutely brilliant. It's a small thing, but it's absolutely cracking. And if you have a look on that side, you can see where you stick all your cables and everything. Now one thing I will say is it may only be a little bit of gold, but it's still a bit of gold. I quite like the idea of using this power supply with Gigabyte UD7 or something like that. But anyway, there's the power supply that we're going to be using in this, and I'm now going to get it in the case and start passing a few cables and stuff through. Another one is, so when you see people later on in the later videos going, why has he got the power supply round the wrong way? Just give them a poke in the eye and say it doesn't matter, because it really doesn't. I do it because I like the look of it. The only thing I will say though is when you have got it that way round, if you do any work on your case, put a bit of kitchen towel or a bit of paper over the top so you can't get anything fall in there. And also, when you're working with your water cooling, make sure you cover the power supply up, just to make doubly sure. Now obviously I know what I'm doing, but if you're worried, turn your power supply around and you won't have to worry about it. But again, it's got an ugly sticker on the top. I'd rather have that on show, but each their own. And one thing I need to kind of remember is people go about bringing hot air in from inside the case. Well, what did you do in the old days when your power supply was in the roof? Everyone seemed to think that your power supply was an exhaust fan, but it's not. Power supply is standalone. Don't even think about that fan as being part of your exhaust or anything like that, because they don't really do enough. Don't worry about the heat, just fit it in there so it looks good and you're happy. Anything else is just making an issue out of something that isn't really there, i.e. making a mountain out of a molehill. But anyways, I'm going to get this in the case, start getting some mocking up done, and then we're going to get the motherboard in there, and hopefully we'll be able to start seeing some hardware in this case for you by the end of the video. So yeah, more work for me to do. Phone! Phone! Just a very quick addition, guys. Most cases come with the power for the fan dropped here. Now that's generally so that the 3-pin adapter can go on your motherboard. Now generally what I do is I'm now going to rotate the fan around so that I can then put the fan cable out the back. Because I hardly ever use the onboard power for fans or anything like that. I always try and set them up separately. So I don't generally use fan profiles and stuff like that. I'd normally set my rigs up, leave them, and then I always try and set them up so they're quiet when they're at 100%. So if they're quiet when they're at 100%, they're quiet when they're not doing anything either. But anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to say that's generally something that I do pretty much every rig. I'll flip that around. Even when I get review cases, if I build them, I normally flip that round. So I just wanted to kind of show you that again, just trying to share a little bit of something that I do with pretty much every video. So I'm just going to do that quickly now. Again, something real random, but hopefully some of you will pick up some of these hints and be able to put them into good use when you build your own systems. Right guys, here's something that a lot of you probably might find quite useful. So this is something that you might want to remember for the future. Now basically I've got the power supply in and I'm fitting the 8-pin CPU power cable and trying to balance the case up on a box at the same time so you can see. But anyway, you can see from what I'm doing, my 8-pin power is here and the cable's not long enough. Because we're in quite a big case, the Corsair cables aren't short, don't think that. But it's just that we've got quite a tall case and the power cables are quite far down. Now a lot of you would probably then go and buy an extension or think that you needed a new power supply, but you don't. Basically what you can do, I'm just going to take the motherboard out quickly. A good cheat, and this is something that quite a lot of system builders I know do, basically put your 8-pin power up through the CPU cutout. Get your motherboard ready. Right, take the pin out. Basically what you want to do is put the motherboard loosely in and then fit your CPU power cable now. You can see this is tight already, but what we're doing is we're doing it now so that when we fit the motherboard it's already in there ready. And then all you've got to do is get your back plate lined up. Now it is tight, but there it is, fitted. All the screws are now lining up. All I've now got to do is drop the screws into the relative screw holes, and that's it, fitted. Now you would not have been able to fit that cable if you tried to do it before. You need to put the motherboard in slightly, fit the plug and then fit it in, because basically what you're doing is as the motherboard then slides in, it pulls all the cables all tight, keeps it all nice and tidy, and yeah, and then you have just a little loop. You've not had to buy an extension, you've kept your costs down, you've kept the tidiness the way you want it. and it's all just because of sliding it up through the CPU hole and making sure that you fit that power cable before you screw the motherboard in, because as I said, as you then put the motherboard into place and put your screws in, it makes everything tight, neat and tidy, and you're not having to spend ages trying to stretch this cable. So yeah, hopefully that is a nice handy tip for you. Something that I do second nature now, but it's just something that I'm trying to share with you guys. Right then guys, power supply's in and I've got that 8-pin fitted there. And as I said, it goes up back of the motherboard, out through the motherboard cutout, and then into the top 8-pin slot. If anyone asks about a second 8-pin, you can fit it if you want. There is no real need. I've never experienced any higher clocks from an air or a water build by fitting the second cable, so yeah, there's no real, you can have it if you want, I'm not telling you not to. But anyway, as you can see, we have the AX850 in there. We've got the motherboard sat in place now. The water block is on. That's an XSPC Rasa, by the way. Corsair Vengance memory. The taller memory heatsinks aren't going to matter on this because obviously we're water cooling and we've not got a heatsink or anything like that to worry about. In the next video, what we're going to be doing is looking at options, or looking at what we've got to do to fit the 360mm radiator and the fans in the roof, and we'll get that fitted. And then after we've done that, we'll explore options on where I'm going to fit the reservoir in this, and then pretty much how, we're going to start, think about fitting the pump, how we're going to start looping things up, and just seeing where we're going to go from here. But that's your first build update. As you can see, there's stuff everywhere. We've got the flipping brollies. Side's an absolute bomb site. But that's where I'm going to leave the video for today. Make sure you check the other videos, because there are going to be other videos. And yeah, hope you're liking it so far. Anyway, I did forget to say Tiny Tom Logan out, because this is the end.